Do you think that an almighty shock is coming at the next election?
I hope so. I mean, that's what I'm fighting for, isn't it?
And you've suggested that some kind of economic crisis could provoke an early general election. Do you stand by that, potentially next year?
I said this in September 2024. I said in September 2024.
And you know the markets.
Yeah, but also the incompetence of this government, the total lack of understanding. 24 men and women in cabinet. Not one of them, not one, has ever set up their own business. Not one.
No.
It's a total disconnect. I mean, I've just been with these big local employers. You know, they say, look, we used to employ loads of 16 and 17-year-olds during their summer holidays, because that's the busy time here in Clacton, that's when all the tourists come. But now the minimum wage for these people has gone up 28% in 2 years. We're now taking on fewer of them. Yeah, there's no understanding of cause and effect of what they're doing as a government. And our borrowing as a country is now rising more quickly than any other nation on earth than Botswana.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of our viewers would rather live there now.
Well, they probably would.
At least the police don't take any nonsense.
Yeah, and the sun shines. No, I mean, this is completely out of control. And we can't afford money for defence to fulfil the most basic of all functions of government, which is to protect the nation. We can't do that, but we can find tens of billions a year for net zero. We can find tens of billions a year for people with mild anxiety going on to full-time disability benefits. We splurge and waste money everywhere. We've got all of our priorities completely and utterly wrong, and the markets can see this.
Has it surprised you that the conversation has shifted so rapidly in regard to immigration and the plan now on the part of Reform to effectively reverse the Boris wave, something that would have been likely very controversial 2 or 3 years ago and is now a popular policy?
Yes, I mean, I've found often throughout my career that things that I say that are deeply unpopular, in time
Give it 2 years.
Quite popular. And again, it's back to what's fair. What's fair, what's reasonable. You know, I have no doubt that the vast majority of British people are open, fair-minded, thoroughly decent, always have been, but what's happened to us is just a step too far.
I think what the establishment also perhaps don't realise is that Reform UK as a movement enjoys support across all ethnicities of this country.
Oh, yeah.
And that if you win and become Prime Minister, you will do so off the back of a multi-ethnic vote. I think a lot of people don't realise that.
Yeah, even in 2024, in that general election, we had more black and ethnic minority voters than the Liberal Democrats. Just as
It's very confusing though, because you're all terrible racists. So riddle me that.
Well, this of course is the word that is constantly thrown out, and it's an attempt to dehumanise those that are making these arguments. And I'm often asked, well, how do you deal with it when people are saying this to you?
Far right, all the rest of it.
Do you know what? Ignore it. Just ignore it.
Well, didn't Mrs. Thatcher say that once you have nicknames or labels for people, you've lost the argument?
And that's exactly what's happening here. Rather than going for the bull, they go for the man. And it's been going on for a long, long time.
Nigel Farage sat down recently and made a claim so blunt it practically slapped the microphone. Not one member of the current cabinet has ever started or run a business. Not a market stall, not a lemonade stand. Nothing. Think about that. The people deciding how your money is spent have, by this account, never once had to worry about making payroll on a Friday. And here is where it gets interesting. Farage does not think this is an accident. He thinks it is the whole problem. Take a small employer in Clacton. Minimum wage rises 28% in 2 years. Sounds lovely on paper, and the result? Fewer teenagers get hired for the summer season. Cause and effect, the most basic law of economics, apparently skipped the syllabus in Whitehall. Now buckle up, because the borrowing figures are where this really turns into a horror film. Farage claims British public borrowing is climbing faster than almost anywhere else on the planet. Quicker, he says, than Botswana. Meanwhile, the country cannot fully fund its own defence commitments, yet somehow finds tens of billions a year for net zero schemes and a ballooning disability benefits bill. His conclusion, delivered with the subtlety of a sledgehammer: All of our priorities are completely and utterly wrong. So, how does this translate into votes? Reform UK's stance on immigration, once treated as radioactive, is now creeping into the mainstream, largely because voters increasingly see it as basic fairness rather than extremism. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. In the last election, Reform reportedly won more black and ethnic minority votes than the Liberal Democrats, not exactly the image painted by their critics. Which brings us neatly to the accusations. Far right, racist. Farage's response? Shrug them off. He leans on a very Thatcherite line. When your opponent resorts to name-calling, they have already lost the argument. Attack the man, not the policy, and you reveal you never had a counter-argument in the first place. Whether you agree with him or not, one thing is clear. British politics is being forced to reckon with voters who are tired of theory and hungry for results. Thank you very much for watching.